And feel free to message me if you aren't comfortable with that. Okay, are we ready? Let's do it. Um, just really quickly before I get into those slides, as I mentioned, I'm an assistant professor and the director of admissions. So I've been an occupational therapist now for almost 20 years, wild. And most of my background is working with folks with physical injuries, major physical injuries in inpatient rehabilitation. So folks that had undergone burns, multiple amputations, significant cardiac issues, stroke, neurologic injuries, all sorts of Parkinson's disease. Most of my clinical time was spent at the Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago, now the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. I got a master's degree in occupational therapy from the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, and then I went back and got a post-professional doctorate degree during my clinical time, and that positioned me for this job here at Rush, which I started in 2018. I love Rush's mission and values and how they live them out on the day-to-day basis. And I also really appreciate that I still have the opportunity to work clinically. I work with older adults in primary care as well as out in the community currently, um, alongside my research and teaching. So I'll be smattering a little bit more about myself as we go along. And there is my right-hand person, Michelle McFall Johnson. I see who's been busy all day today helping with the practicum has joined there. There she is. She's our program administrative manager, knows all things about Rush admissions. So glad to have her here, and hopefully you guys can be in further communication with her too. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, without further ado, let's get going. Rush University Medical Center as a whole is the largest and oldest private academic medical center in Illinois. I'm not like a huge history buff, but we have a lot of fun history facts here at Rush. So we were founded over 180 years ago in 1837 by Daniel Brainerd, who selflessly named Rush after Benjamin Rush, who was the only physician to sign the Declaration of Independence. We were Chicago's first healthcare institution, and we were um, established after 2 days before the city of Chicago was even incorporated. Our system as a whole includes both the academic medical center, which for those of you in the Illinois area, it sounds like most folks that responded were around may have seen as you head west out of downtown. And there's our iconic butterfly-shaped building, which is our medical center. And the academic building is attached to that building through a pedestrian way. So the medical center there in our downtown location, relatively downtown, it has 644 bed acute care hospital. There's a children's hospital. There's a behavioral health facility there, inpatient hospital where students are able to go as well. We have an inpatient rehabilitation center that's brand new, that is a few buildings just down. Pictured on the bottom right-hand side, it's a beautiful facility where they're doing inpatient rehab and have a lot of different therapy services and some alumni working there. We also have outpatient facilities right here on our campus location. We also have various different community hospitals across the Chicagoland area, as well as some outpatient, many outpatient care facilities. Rush as a whole has much national and international recognition. We have a 5-star rating, the highest possible from Medicare. For the 6th year in a row, we've been among the best in the nation, but ranked by US News and World Report. And we also have some other less common accolades that you might hear. We've been named consistently since 2010 an LGBTQ plus healthcare equality employer on the Healthcare Equity Index report. We've been ranked number 2 in the nation for quality and accountability by Vizient. We have a strong culture of excellence and innovation, always aiming to keep our services and our classroom experiences cutting edge. We've recently teamed up with MD Anderson Cancer Center to provide exceptional cancer care here in the Chicagoland area. It's just one other example of kind of that culture of innovation and excellence. That continues when we go to the university level. So I mentioned the university is attached via a pedestrian way to that acute care hospital. The university is housed primarily in one building, and all of the students there have an exclusive focus on the health sciences. So we have a medical college, a college of nursing, and then the College of Health Sciences, which includes occupational therapy, speech language pathology, audiology, medical laboratory sciences, and many, many other programs. There are over 40 different healthcare programs. All of our students take, within the whole university, take 2 interprofessional courses together. So oftentimes students want to know if they take courses with other students within the university, and that we do have 2 courses in which students work in small groups across various disciplines in an interdisciplinary team with someone that is a healthcare user to kind of talk about the different roles, which is a unique feature of Rush's program. We are also, just given our location, really positions us uniquely for the integration of that patient care, research, and education alongside community service. But when we talk about the clinical integration, starting in week 4, our students are completing practicum experiences, which are building students' preparation for their fieldwork experiences and kind of bridging that gap between what you're doing now as a prospective student to gain an understanding of OT through observation to preparing you for when you go out on your fieldwork. Our students are consistently well prepared for fieldwork. They have a strong reputation because over the first 3 terms, ahead of kind of the necessary per OT student school accreditation, requirements of fieldwork are completing clinical experiences. They've seen a hospital setting before. They've interacted with people like across a variety of different ages and diagnostic criteria and population. So it's something that we're really excited to offer, and as a faculty really enhances the education and the contribution that students are able to make. So when I'm saying, oh, this is how you would assess range of motion, they're like, oh, I saw that in the clinic this morning, which is really cool and really aligns with our integrative active learning model that we have here. I also touched on community service, which is one of the values that I spoke to that I really, really love about being at Rush. And this is kind of one of the ways they put their money, shall you say, where their mouth is, that we have all of our students as a requirement to graduate must complete 16 hours of community service. There's a plethora of different opportunities. Each of the faculty member have an organization or kind of a purpose in which we have community service, and there's many, many opportunities for that. So some more fun history. Occupational therapy itself has a very long history, really going back to the start of the profession here at Rush. So clinical OT services were first offered back in 1960 by Susan Tracy, pictured there on the top left. Susan was one of our professional association's most influential people named by our professional association. And she is recognized as one of the founders of our professional associations. However, was here in Chicago establishing our OT department when the founding meeting was occurring in New York. She also, like right around that time frame, it's interesting that OT emerged as the profession in 1917. And fun fact, this was actually a few years ahead of physical therapy, who didn't form their first professional association until 1921. So that was 3 years later. So back then in 1986, we founded our academic program. So we had longstanding clinical services to kind of launch off of. And then Dr. Cynthia Hughes Harris, who's pictured there, launched our first master's program back in 1986, where we had longstanding success. We've since transitioned to the OTD in 2017, and now we're looking at almost 10 years of our doctorate program success and really starting to build out our doctorate-based alumni and refine our program, which is really exciting. Since you all can't be here with me, just a little bit about our campus. You can see here some of our interactive spaces, student learning spaces on the top left. Alongside our clinical practicum experiences, we have simulation experiences where we'll have paid actors that are undergoing some either like health-related issue, maybe an interpersonal crisis that students have to navigate through. It can feel a little daunting to go through these simulation experiences, but students consistently report these as meaningful learning experiences and want more. And is another way we feel we really prepare students to go out onto field work. We have some great eating options, Panera, Starbucks, and we have a whole second floor cafeteria here within our building. There we have a lot of local vendors, which is one way we try and invest in the health of the West Side, not only through the care we provide at the hospital, but through using vendors that are located here in the West Side. We even established a linens processing facility on the West Side to help employ people and give jobs that we know are essential for health, not only getting health insurance, but for maintaining health, which is a really cool, holistic way that Rush is looking at the health of the West Side. We have some outdoor spaces that are pictured here, and then our library spaces. Students have access to the library 24/7 through their ID badges. There's quiet spaces, and then there's also this interactive space as well. A few of our program highlights. So we only have that entry-level doctorate program. All of our students, which we have a class size of approximately 36, move through the course sequence together. So they take all of their coursework together. It is full-time, 8 semesters. So we call them semesters, but there are 3 in a year. They are intensive. You're spending 2 years and 8 months to get a doctorate degree. So we have a fall term, a spring term, and the summer term. So sounds like most folks were interested in applying to begin in fall 27. Wild, we're looking at 2030 for graduation. Can't believe it. But this is all like in person. We try and schedule our classes particularly or like usually on Monday through Thursday. We try and leave Fridays free for group work or some of these clinical experiences. I've emphasized some of the kind of clinical aspects. One of the ways we showcase this throughout our curriculum and through our faculty is this practitioner, which is that like clinical aspect alongside our teaching and investigator. Those are our research duties as faculty. So all of our faculty have some sort of clinical role. I mentioned I am working with older adults on fall prevention in the community as well as in our older adult primary care. We have our mental health faculty members working on the behavioral health acute care unit here at Rush. We have a faculty that's still actively engaging in early intervention practice. So really across the developmental and practice setting continuum, we're actively involved. We also bring in practitioners since we're so close to the medical center. We have them assist with labs. We have them do guest lectures as well. Another important thing to know when you're looking at occupational therapy programs is in order to sit for the board exam, you must graduate from a fully accredited program, which we are grateful that we are, and we received the maximum accreditation period during our initial accreditation, which happened back in 2018. We are gearing up for another successful ACOT visit, as we call them, coming up this fall. So stay tuned on that. I mentioned we have these interdisciplinary courses. Alongside that, we have like nursing students that come in and help teach vitals, for example, all sorts of extracurricular opportunities to both volunteer and do service with the various different professional students here. So Another unique thing about a Rush graduate is they receive a variety of different certifications and specialty trainings that set them apart as new graduates. The primary one that I'm going to emphasize is our physical agent modality didactic certification. So physical agent modalities include anything from a hot pack and a cold pack to electric modalities, which are things like neuromuscular electrical stimulation, which you may or may not have seen, where they put a little electrodes on and the electrical current will stimulate the muscle contraction. Or their TENS is something that a lot of folks have heard of just as far as pain management. In the state of Illinois, in order to administer any of those different treatment modalities, you do need an extra certification. So when I graduated, I started my job here in Chicago, and I couldn't use a hot or a cold pack until I took this 2-day course, which costs now through our Illinois State Association around $500. So this is something that our students all received this third semester, their summer term, ahead of their first, well, like 2-week clinical experience. And you can see there's a number of other different trainings that our students receive certifications in as well. So here's a little bit more of the sequence of our clinical experiences. We have those hands-on experiences built in every semester. Those fieldwork 1As and Bs, as well as the fieldwork 2, are something that are required by all programs per our accrediting bodies. So you should see those consistently. What makes our clinical sequence unique are those clinical practicums, which run the first through the third semester, in which you're kind of, as part of a course, you go with a partner to an OT setting, and you're having to either like introduce occupational therapy, complete an interview with a patient or a student, write a piece of documentation. So it's a way we kind of help build you and prepare you for when it is time for you to go on your fieldwork experiences. We also have in the fall semester, kind of somewhere in between these two, we have our group dynamics experience, in which students are going out in groups and actually running different groups alongside the faculty supervisor that's there as their mentor. So this is unique skill set that our students get. And finally, the doctorate capstone experience. Many of our students choose like an in-depth clinical experience. I have one of my upcoming students that's getting an in-depth experience in clinical and working with patients following breast cancer. Other students are working with me in that older adult population, which they'll be getting more primary care, older adult clinical experience. Alternatively, some of our students focus on other areas like program development. We always have a large number of students here in academia with us, helping us improve our curriculum as well. So a little bit more about our program, some fun pictures. We aim to be leaders in the classroom as well as with clinic technology. You can see on the top left-hand side is a picture of our anatomotage tables. So they are images of the layers of different cadavers that help our students study. The first semester of the program, we do have a foundational anatomy course that is intensive, and this is another way we help our students prepare for success in that and really skillfully being able to understand the human body before you can kind of apply that to what it looks like during occupational performance. We also have 3D printers, which aren't pictured here, but those we have our students use to make various adaptive equipment for people in need. We also have these social robots in which people can work on various social emotional skills and working with the social robot. We like to have close mentorship relationships. So with that smaller cohort size and our smaller faculty with the open door policy, we like to have, we know if you're not like in class, we're worried about you. These are like smaller, more intimate than, let's say, like a larger undergraduate program that you may be more used to. Most of our students are. We also, as part of our research sequence, we work in small groups with each student group works with a faculty mentor to develop and execute a research project. So students really work from the ground up with a faculty member to conduct and execute a research project. You can see pictured on kind of the top center is a group of our second year students and myself, the rising third years that were recently published for their work in looking at the impact of a yoga session that we ran on student stress. So exciting stuff. As I've mentioned, we really emphasize those clinical experiences every semester, getting out. Venya Popova, one of our faculty members, is on the Gigi's Playhouse. She's the president, so we have a lot of opportunities and a lot of student volunteering that occurs there. We go out in the community to promote OT and working with the unhoused population. So prospective students now interested in occupational therapy are well positioned with different options where you can choose to pursue, the master's or the doctorate degree. We feel that the doctorate degree does present a unique opportunity for our alumni, just given the increasing demands of healthcare and requiring those advanced skills, that the doctorate degree is essential for kind of like moving our profession forward. That last semester, it is really pretty amazing to see that transformational learning that occurs, that after students have gone through their field work and they've been kind of really like closely supported to execute OT. And then now when they have to like actually generate and create new knowledge that's founded in occupational therapy is really, really amazing to watch and really promotes their confidence, their leadership skills, and their roles that are available to them. We've had a number of our different students actually get jobs in these emerging practice areas. So some primary care facilities that previously did not have OTs have hired some of our alumni. We also had an alumni that was working at the mayor's office for individuals with disabilities that got hired there for the city of Chicago, which is a really cool and unique role. We have two different alumni that I'm aware of, actually now three different alumni that I'm aware of with faculty positions. So if you're interested in teaching, you do need to have the degree level of a doctorate degree to teach at that level of a program. So it's a pretty cool opportunity there that some folks are interested in. So fieldwork is something a lot of folks have questions about. So fieldwork here at Rush, we have a lot of different options for students. So we had 200 total opportunities for each year for each cohort. So we have sites established across 38 different states, including over 10 international sites. If you have a site that you're interested in, let's say you're from Oklahoma, you can see we don't currently have any in Oklahoma, and you want this particular site, you can let our fieldwork coordinator know, and there's that established process for requesting new sites and locations, and you would have the first opportunity to go there. You can see we have, I think, 4 students preparing to go to Ecuador next week for their first level 1. I know we have students going to Belize. We've had students, one finished recently, their level 2 at the Dominican Republic, the United Kingdom, so Scotland. We have a pediatric therapist that is now, I believe, positioned in Germany, where we always consistently send students. And the list goes on, which is exciting if you're adventurous and looking to try something different for your field work. But some folks, stay in the Chicagoland area, are interested in like saving money, maybe staying with their parents. We have plenty of sites within the Illinois area. In fact, the majority are, but there's a lot of different options. I mentioned a little bit about our faculty student research. So the very second semester of the program, students receive that foundational research knowledge on like how to develop a research question, how to do skillful data analysis, how to write up a manuscript. And then they're paired with a faculty member based off of their interest, and a small group of students would actually help kind of create the IRB and see the whole project through to fruition. Everyone's required to present at our poster presentation day, which occurs then like 4 semesters later, right before they go out on their first level 2. And then many do also present this work both at the state level, nationally. We've even had some come with us internationally to present at our World OT Conference, which is pictured there. A number of the faculty, current students, and alumni presented their work. Your capstone project is another way to disseminate work, and grant options are also available for students. So we understand being in graduate school can be tricky. You still have a life besides being an OT student. So there are a lot of resources here within Rush. You also have that like close relationship of the faculty within the department, that open door policy. And then alongside that, we have our Center for Academic Excellence, which does a lot of writing support for our students, or just how to kind of organize and prioritize and study in a graduate school level. So they are very useful and students really appreciate their services. We also have the Office of Student Accessibility to help make sure our learning environment meets the learning needs that you may have. We are actively in coordination with them, and they are working with us as well. We have the student financial aid. We understand the financial aid process from a federal level is undergoing a lot of different changes that are impacting students and their ability to take loans. We are being dynamic in it. Our Office of Student Financial Aid has been very responsive and holding student sessions. They come to our interviews to help best prepare students with the knowledge that we have, the best available knowledge that we have, and are working to set up wellness advisors, or like financial wellness advisors. So not only is it like the office that you would go to like if you have a problem, but that there's actually folks that can try and help you kind of from more of that promotion level, look at budgeting, how you can manage your finances as well. We also have our Center for Clinical Wellness, which offers free unlimited therapy services both in person or virtually in their beautiful wellness space. And then kind of transitioning to all the different things to do, I mentioned our service hour requirements and no shortage of ways to complete those service hours. We're out doing balance screenings in the community. Our Student OT Association is organizing lots of fun events. Every year we do an Adopt the Family where we're purchasing gifts and wrapping them as a little party together. We do a backpack fitting at a return to school fair. Dr. Van Penbrook, pictured here in the bottom right-hand corner, is active founding and integrating the occupational therapy into the unhoused population and doing street runs. So she takes a lot of students with her on that work as well. But the opportunities are really endless. There's leadership opportunities both within the Student OT Association, and some of the other department associations. We also have a student member of our admissions committee. We consistently get funding, faculty funding, to have research assistants, which provides opportunities for students as well. Besides our Student OT Association, we have an active Rush OTs in Action, which is really specific to keeping the department accountable and also like promoting racial and ethnic equity. Some of the different events that they've done have been related to kind of activities of daily living promotion for various cultures, including donning and doffing hijab and saris. We've hosted a Black Hair Care Month event, and we've kind of gone out in the community and promoted occupational therapy to meet underrepresented groups as well. So another thing to consider when you're looking at investing in an OT program is really their board exam pass rate. So we really work hard to design a curriculum that prepares students to pass the board exam. We do this through the questions that we use on our exams are attempting to model the same format as the board certification. We also have an NBCOT practice exam that is a required component of our curriculum to help prepare students as well. So we purchase an actual practice exam for you. So you can see we have a 100% pass rate for our new grads in that first year for 23, 24, and 25. Our pass rate is consistently significantly above the US national average. We're also very excited that we continue to rise in the ranking. We have such an energetic faculty that's out there publishing their work. We're at every conference. The joke is now it's like Rush Green everywhere. We are very active in promoting our program and all the great things we have to offer, and we're really proud. Our like small program is ranked number 15 by US News and World Report. A little bit more of the outcomes. So we also aim our best to be student satisfiers consistently on our exit survey. Students do rate a higher level of satisfaction with the blend of educational experiences and quality of their education, which I'm proud of too. Students can be a tough crowd, so I was proud that our alumni rated us as such. We also have a high employment rate. I would say all of our alumni do end up getting employed within kind of the time frame that they're looking for. You may have to compromise on like one of your values. Like if you really want a certain practice setting, you may need to compromise on, let's say, salary or location are the things where you kind of need to decide what is your primary goal, to like get paid a lot, to do a certain practice setting, to be in a certain location, and kind of work from there. You can see the mean average salary in the US by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics comes in at $96,000, which is certainly above our starting range for our alumni. I'd say it's closer to $70,000, $65,000 versus the 96 would definitely be a higher end for a new graduate. So a little bit more about our admissions processes. So we kind of have distilled Rush's mission down, and we're really looking for folks that have that passion for learning, service, and scholarship. So as we go through and review your OT-CAS application, we're really looking for those aspects and taking a holistic look at your application. From the bottom line requirements, we do require that all students complete and have a verified online application through the OT centralized application system. So many of you folks I think everyone was interested in applying for the upcoming cycle. Hopefully you've had a chance to log into OT-CAS and get started on that. Do know and make sure you keep an eye on your application as you go through the submission process. Sometimes it takes a while for transcripts to get verified, etc., and we will not review your application until it is verified. Ahead of you beginning the program in September of 2027, you must have completed a bachelor's degree and all of our prerequisite course requirements. So it's okay if those are still in process, even if you're taking some of those in the summer. We just do need your transcript ahead of your matriculation in September 2027. We require a minimum GPA of a 3.0, of a 4.0 on your most recent 2 years of education in order to move through and look at the rest of your application to make sure you can meet the academic standards in your most recent academic performance. We require 2 letters of recommendation. Those can be from anyone familiar with your professional aptitude, whether that's a OT or a healthcare provider you've shadowed, former professor, teacher, employer, volunteer supervisor, anyone that's familiar with your professional aptitude. In order to help ensure that you understand what you are getting into with your 2 years and 8 months investments, we do require at least 20 hours minimum to make sure that you have a solid understanding of observation of occupational therapy, of what the profession is. If you can do this across different practice settings, I think that would, if anything, just help your personal statement or help you prepare for your interview to demonstrate that and just your preparation for a program overall, like ideally trying to observe more than just one practice setting, because the profession can look so different site by site, and all programs really have this generalist education. So even if you are like a dead set peds person, having a sense of what working with adults would be like is really helpful because that is a large part of the program and what you'd be, investing your time in. We also require the personal statement, which you'll see all programs do. We use that same prompt. Select number of applicants are invited for an in-person interview, which is required for students to be matriculated. So our prerequisite courses are listed here. We require human anatomy with a lab, that cadaver lab preferred, as well as physiology with a lab preferred. We require at least 7 credit hours. I mentioned we do have a rigorous anatomy course the very first semester, so we do require that this is the one prerequisite that must have been taken within 5 years ahead of the start of the program. We do require at least a C or better. If you do have classes where you have time to retake, if you've gotten a C, and you want to get a higher grade, you can let us know and we will consider that. Or if you've gotten a lower grade and plan to retake it, make sure to let us know. So we also require statistics, descriptive and inferential. It just must be required. If you have a question, we can look through your course description and help you with that. You can send that to us. I have the email at the end. A sociology or an anthropology course, a human growth and development across the lifespan. So importantly, this is from birth all the way through older adulthood and aging, including death and dying. So some folks do need to take an additional older adult development course in order to meet this prerequisite if there's only covered up through adolescence and adulthood. We require 2 psychology courses, and one of those courses must be an abnormal psychology. Okay, so once you've completed kind of those minimum requirements and you have your application submitted through OTCAS and it's verified, the committee will go through and look at both your cumulative and prerequisite GPA. We also want to look at your familiarity, your commitment to OT through reviewing your personal statement and any experience you may have. However, even if you have, let's say the next line, work, research, or community service that is not OT related at all, we want to hear about it. We certainly consider other life experiences as valuable like contributors to the learning environment. And it's really helpful to have people with various different backgrounds within the classroom. So make sure to not discount anything that you may have in your history besides, of course, your academics, and complete it thoroughly, because we are looking through those. And I know both Rush and most other programs that I've talked to are really taking those things into like serious consideration when reviewing your application. So also for your personal statement, just making sure to keep it under 2 pages, I'd recommend. Speaking really to your different specific experiences that would position you well to be an OT or an OT student, not underscoring, like not or discounting things that you may not feel are directly OT related, and trying to make it as unique to you as possible. I mentioned that we do have an interview. We have an interview process that is virtual to help with the accessibility. We do have a group interview process to help kind of see that group dynamic and how students can collaborate. This is one of our values here at Rush, and OT school and being an OT professional require a lot of collaboration. We use the interview time also to tell you more about Rush's program. We have students come in to answer questions. I mentioned our financial aid and alumni come in. So we really feel like the interview time, of course, is about us to get to know you, but also about you to get to know Rush a little bit better. Last year, for this incoming class, we have 38 students slotted to begin in just a few weeks now for the class of 29. We had around 230 applications for that cohort. I want to say we interviewed around 160 students for those 38 spots. So some tips, I do recommend that you apply early. We do rolling admissions, and if you apply later, there's a chance that our seats are full and that new seats don't open up. So certainly We have our first interview scheduled for October 30th and are hoping to start to get through a good amount of reviews ahead of that. We have one or two in November and December, and then another one in January and February. And then after February, well, our admissions or applications close on January 15th, and all of our admissions decisions are made and sent out by February. However, we do have that rolling admissions. You may find out sooner. I spoke to this when I was talking a little bit more about our review processes, but please do complete your experiences section of OTCAS thoroughly. So we're using those like numbers of like the hours and the weeks, and we're looking through those details. So don't skimp out on that. Make sure to monitor your application status on the check status tab in OTCAS to again make sure that we've received it and are able to review it. Check out Rush at our website. Our information packet has lots of information. I have our Instagram handle at the end. If you don't follow us, we have a very fun, lively Instagram, thanks to our very fun, lively program chair, Dr. Ozelli, and a lot of student help. So now a little bit more about the finances associated with it. Our current estimated cost of tuition for the full program is $123,000. 832. This comes down to around 15,500 per term. So it's a flat fee. You don't have any other additional lab fees. It does not include textbooks or let's say the scrubs or like about it. Living costs are not included in the tuition. We do have a lot of textbooks here that students are able to loan. We have our interlibrary loan service, which students can get textbooks for. We have work study options that are available both throughout the college and research assistant positions. I'll talk next about the scholarship options. Certainly on investment in your future, we do know that employment of OTs has continued to project to grow. And just in my personal opinion, it's been priceless to have a job where you love and get the privilege to work with different people, do different things, have so many different options within one career that I've never looked back on my student loans, which are unfortunate. We are also positioned financially, above a lot of what or below what a lot of the other doctorate programs are when we go ahead and do our benchmarks. So we try really hard to keep our tuition low and to not do any increases, whatever way possible. I mentioned financially does come to our interviews and is really supportive in helping students navigate the loan process. As far as scholarships, we are able to award a number of different scholarships. Last year, we were able to award over $350,000 in scholarships just to the incoming students alone, which is really exciting. I know right now we currently have at least 3, if not 4, faculty that are searching for research assistants, which are another way that students can get paid in order to do things associated with the curriculum, essentially. Our scholarships are allocated basically by your OTCAS submission and your interview. There are no further application that is needed. So we do have graduate assistants. We've had 7 graduate assistants who help support faculty about 2 to 8 hours per week. They receive a $20,000 scholarship for the first year of the program. We also have some leadership and professional scholarships that are awarded also off of your OTCAS and interview review, as well as how your background uniquely aligns with our RUSH mission. So feel free, make sure you again complete your OTCAS application thoroughly. So living in Chicago, so just a little bit, our students live across the Chicagoland area. Some of them literally live in like some of these buildings here, which they can walk to school and see Rush from their porch. Many of them commute in from the suburbs. We have students take the Metro. There is a free Rush shuttle that's run now through Uber and the Uber app that will take you right from either like Ogilvy or Union Station to Rush or from Rush to there. Students have access to free Ventra passes, which can get you access to both the city bus and the city train or the L. You can see where we're located here. We're just west of downtown. Students live all across the different Chicagoland area and commute either by car, bus, train, metro, you name it. There's a parking garage right across the way in which students can receive discounted parking. Our matriculated students, we pair you up with an incoming peer. We have a zoo meet and greet planned for our incoming students to try and kind of build connections, and we start a group me so that way folks can start to plan if they're looking for roommates or want to start to get to know people ahead of that September start. It's really important to us that we start to build community early on. Here is our Instagram account. Make sure to follow us there if you're really interested in knowing more about our capstone presentations. They're linked here. We have a fun newsletter. Our website has some information. We have a YouTube with our previous alumni question and answer sessions, which are a great way to get to know more about Rush. And if you attend one of our upcoming ones, we also give you a certificate for one observation hour as well. We will be sending the slide deck out to you with the links. So some of the upcoming events that we have, some of these have passed, but looking forward into August, you guys are at this information session. We also have an upcoming alumni question and answer session on August 19th from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. The registration is linked here, but it's the same spot where you registered for this info session. We're also preparing for an open house in the fall. Saturday, October 24th, which we're really excited about. We try and make these a little bit more interactive where you're actually working with those anatomotage tables, some of those thermal and electric modalities. We have students really try and get a sense of what it's like to be a student here at Rush, get to know us. We have a student-led tour coming up in September, but if you happen to be around in the meantime and can't make any of these days, we're always happy to try and find some time where we can either tour you around or get you connected with one of our student members of the admissions committee. If you have questions about your specific syllabi, please feel free. Email us is going to be the quickest way to get a hold of us. Michelle is always more than willing and very happy to help students navigate the clunky OTCAS process and work very closely with me if I can help in any way. She's also very good at, if you have questions about the prerequisites and aren't sure if a certain course is going to meet the requirement, she knows all of the common courses like the back of her hand now that students send in and does the research to make sure that your course will fulfill the requirement. So thank you in advance, Michelle. Please, we know that this is a lot to navigate and we're here to be your support alongside that. We hope you think Rush is amazing as we do. Congratulations on finding this amazing profession of occupational therapy, which has really served me so well across my past almost 20 years, Michelle. Exciting. And with that, I'll leave it up for you guys to ask any questions. Michelle, you have anything to add?
Right now, if they have the right questions, I might add stuff. We'll see. Don't be shy, guys. This is the time.
Yeah, because if you guys don't start asking questions, then I start to ask questions. For you guys, Jared did.
Do you require observation hours to be written off, or is it a self-report? In the OTCAS application, if you do have a document provided by where you did observation hours, you can upload it to that document section. If not, you just list it in the observation hours and where you did it so that if we need to verify it, we can.
Nice. Thank you. And I saw another question come through about the schedule. I can just even show you an example of, oh, this isn't a good example though. It was a nice busy semester that our students just finished off, but you can see our students throughout the first year. Can you see the schedule there?
No, now we can.
Okay, beautiful. Many of our courses like have a lab component. So here's like a typical schedule. You can see in the summer semester, students are learning psychosocial aspects of care with our mental health faculty. A lot of this is like a small portion of lecture and then lab. Developmental disabilities one is talks through the developmental milestones. OT process is looking at documentation. Uh, Neuroscience, you get all day, a little bit of lecture, a lot of workshops and labs. And then you can see we try and like hold a lot of these spaces in pink and this one space in green. They aren't actual class times, but we ask students to kind of keep a hold on them for our clinical experiences. And then this evidence-based practice skills are our research groups. So they're still like meeting with their faculty members as needed on their assigned times, kind of to move their research forward. You can see our students this summer did their very first practical in the simulation center as well. So I'm not sure exactly what you meant by the block schedule, but I hope that addresses your question again.
You're welcome, Megan.
Okay. Do you guys want to watch a little video that we have not yet released to social media, the tour? I think it's 2 minutes long. Michelle, have you seen this yet?
No, let's see it.
Okay, let me make sure share sound, optimize for
Our
video share.
students do the cutest videos sometimes.
I know we're just waiting to like we're waiting on refining the ending, but it's still pretty great. See if it'll work for me. Yeah.
Hi, we're Rush
Why isn't it
OTD,
big?
and this
Oh, we can
Okay.
hear it, but we can't see it. Oh, wait a minute. Here it comes.
Again, feel free to keep any questions coming in the meantime in the chat as we wait for it. Oh gosh. Michelle's probably yelling. I hear you telling me you have too many tabs open. I'll close my other tabs now.
I don't think it's going to work, Bridget.
All right.
Well, on our just while Bridget's trying to fix this, on our Instagram, we have lots of different videos on there. Our students have made day in the life videos for a first year, a second year, a third year. One of our faculty made a day in the life video. They're really cute. Sometimes they'll do stuff around exams or a special event that we have. And they're super they're super genius. Some of them are they're just really good. Yeah,
And I guess you guys will have to follow us to see that tour because it
yeah.
doesn't want to load. And I know it's going to be coming live soon.
And then
We also,
our
yeah,
YouTube channel holds our information session recordings, but also the alumni Q&As that we do. And there's one highlight reel, which I'm gonna send you a link to it when I follow up with the email after this, that you can click on it. It just sort of shows little pop-ups from each of the alumni Q&As that we had last year, and they're all about different settings. OT's working in different settings from our alumni, which is great.
thanks, Michelle. So
Yeah,
have you guys started OT Cast? How are you feeling? Questions about that?
it's a lot of information. If I can give two little pointers. One, make sure you fill out those experiences sections, like Bridget said. We're looking for, well-rounded people. So not every category has to be OT related. I mean, if you have leadership is leadership. It doesn't matter what it's in, really. Um, Research is also a part where it doesn't have to be OT. It's great if it is, but it doesn't have to be. Your service hours don't have to be, your volunteer service hours don't have to be OT related. You could be volunteering at a church or a daycare or a homeless shelter or whatever. That's all good stuff. The only thing that has to be OT related is your clinical observation hours. So make sure you really fill that out completely. Don't bother uploading your resume because we don't read them and we don't look at them. That's what that experiences section is for. It breaks it down for us. Um, and then when you get ready to do your personal statement, make sure you check it for grammar and spelling and have somebody else who's good at that read it as well. Don't use AI. We want to hear your words from you. And remember that faculty are reading these 4 or 5 at a time. So don't make it longer than what you would want to read if you were reading 4 or 5 back to back. And we want to know what you think about OT and why you're choosing this profession.
Thank you, Michelle. And just to underscore a few points that you said, you mentioned about, the experiences sections. We don't look at resumes just because to make it like standardized and equitable across applicants, we really do need to see those experiences section. And then the last little bit, just about AI use, we do have an attestation in there that asks if you have used AI. We understand that AI is a tool that is available to many, and I would suggest that you have an actual person that you trust their writing skills, review your personal statement. I think an appropriate use of using AI would just be to review also yours, but I do think and look for more like grammar, spelling, but do make sure that you're representing yourself, that it doesn't look like too generic, like you didn't write it. The reviewer could tell, I mean, um, with AI these days, but we understand like maybe helping to make sure that you want to make sure it's grammatically correct. You want to make sure that it's somewhat interesting, and that's some way that I would see as more of an acceptable use of it, the tool.
Okay.
You can see we can just keep chatting. You guys don't have questions though.
Except I'm still at work and I want to go home. So if y'all don't have more questions.
Okay, well, you guys know where to find us if questions do arise. Thank you guys for your time. And again, congratulations on finding an awesome field of OT.
Thanks, everybody. Bridget, did you stop the recording already?
No, but I think we could probably even just like